My business partner poured me a whiskey last winter, his grin wide as he toasted to our company's bright future. But the way his hand lingered on the bottle, the way his eyes avoided mine, set my nerves on edge. My name is Ethan Caldwell, 38 years old, co-founder of Apex Capital, a boutique investment firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'd poured a decade into building Apex, turning a scrappy startup into a trusted name for small businesses seeking funding. That toast wasn't a celebration. It was a distraction. Derek Vance, my partner, had been stealing from our clients for years, siphoning millions into his own pockets. When I caught him, he thought he could buy my silence with charm and lies. What he didn't know was that I'd already started digging, and I was ready to burn his empire to the ground to make things right. I met Derek in 2010 at a finance conference in Raleigh. I was 24, fresh out of business school, scraping by on freelance, consulting gigs. Derek was 27, a walking charisma bomb, tailored suit, perfect handshake, the kind of guy who could sell sand in a desert. Over beers, we swapped stories about dead-end jobs and bigger dreams. I was the numbers guy, crunching data in my sleep. Derek was the deal closer, with a Rolodex of investors. We clicked, and by 2012, we'd launched Apex Capital, pooling $50,000 in savings. Our pitch was straightforward. Connect small businesses, diners, tech startups, mom-and-pop shops, with investors taking a 5% commission. By 2018, we were managing $20 million in investments, had a staff of 12, and a reputation for integrity. I ran the analytics, Derek worked the clients. We were unstoppable, or so I thought. The first crack in our partnership appeared in 2020, during the pandemic's chaos. A client, Carla Morales, a bakery owner with flour-dusted aprons and a warm smile, called me in a panic. Her $100,000 investment, funneled through Apex to a venture fund Derek had vouched for, had vanished. The fund, Pinnacle Growth, was unreachable, phone disconnected, website down. Derek said it was secure. Carla said, her voice trembling, "That's my life savings, Ethan." I felt a knot in my chest. Carla wasn't just a client. She brought us homemade empanadas at our office opening, her kids trailing behind her. I promised to fix it. Derek was smooth as ever. "Pinnacle went bankrupt," he said, leaning back in his leather chair. "Bad timing. We'll cover Carla's loss from reserves." We did, wiring her $100,000 from Apex's emergency fund. But his explanation didn't sit right. Pinnacle's collapse was too clean, too convenient. I tried pulling their filings from the SEC database, but the fund was a ghost. No records, no trace. Derek brushed off my questions, flashing that grin. "Don't stress, man. It's one deal." But it wasn't. Over the next year, more red flags popped up. Clients complained about delayed returns, some waiting months for payouts that should have cleared in weeks. Derek started taking private calls, locking his office door, his laughter muffled through the walls. He showed up in a new Tesla Model S, $90,000 worth of sleek black curves, bragging about a side deal that hit big. Meanwhile, I was still driving my 2015 Subaru, its dashboard rattling like my growing unease. I checked our books late at night, my laptop screen glowing in the dark. The numbers looked fine, revenue steady, expenses balanced. But they felt too perfect, like a photo airbrushed to hide flaws. Derek was meticulous, but not this meticulous. I didn't confront him. Derek was a master of spin, always ready with an excuse wrapped in a smile. I needed hard evidence. In early 2022, I reached out to Maya Chun, a college friend who'd become a forensic accountant with a reputation for sniffing out fraud. She was sharp, with a dry wit and a hacker's instincts. I didn't tell Derek, hiring her as a consultant for a routine audit to avoid suspicion. Maya worked after hours, digging through Apex's servers from coffee shop, her hoodie up, earbuds in. 2 weeks later, she slid a USB drive across a diner table, her face grim. "Ethan, you've got a problem," she said. Derek's been skimming. The drive was a bombshell. Hidden accounts, forged contracts, encrypted emails. Derek had set up a shell company, Vanguard Ventures, posing as an investor. Over 3 years, he diverted $1,200,000 in client funds to Vanguard, funneling the money to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Pinnacle Growth, the bankrupt fund that cost Carla her savings? A front, with Derek pocketing her $100,000. He'd forged my digital signature to approve transfers, covering his tracks with fake audits. Maya's report identified 15 affected clients, their losses totaling $1,800,000. My hand shook as I scrolled through the evidence. This wasn't just theft, it was betrayal, and I'd been too busy crunching numbers to see it. I didn't tell my wife, Lauren, right away. She's a pediatric nurse, my anchor, with a laugh that could melt stress. Our savings were tied up in Apex, and I knew she'd worry about our future, our plans for a house, maybe kids. Instead, I kept up appearances with Derek, laughing at his jokes, clinking glasses during that whiskey toast. Every smile felt like swallowing glass. Behind the scenes, I built a fortress of evidence. I backed up Maya's files on external drive, hidden in my desk's false bottom. I started recording our calls. Legal in North Carolina's one-party consent state, capturing Derek's casual lies about market fluctuations and client errors. I reached out to affected clients, starting with Carla. Over coffee at her bakery, the smell of fresh bread heavy in the air, I apologized. I didn't know, I said, my throat tight. Her eyes were hard but softened when I promised to make it right. She gave me bank statements showing her lost $100,000, her trust in Apex shattered. Another client, Raj Patel, a tech founder with a startup building AI for healthcare, had lost $250,000. He was livid, ready to sue. "Give me a reason not to," he said, his voice low. I asked him to hold off. "If we move too soon," I told Maya, "Derek will shred everything." Derek's behavior shifted. He pushed me to sign off on a new fund, Blue Horizon, claiming it would double our revenue by Q3. His pitch was polished, but his eyes darted, like he was reading my reaction. I stalled, saying I needed more projections. "Don't overthink it, Ethan," he said one evening, clapping my shoulder too hard. "Trust me." The word stung. Trust was the foundation of Apex, and he'd turned it into a weapon. I needed a heavy hitter. I contacted Olivia Brooks, a former client who'd moved to the SEC's Charlotte office as a regulator. She was 45, no nonsense, with a law degree and a nose for fraud. Over coffee in a crowded cafe, I shared Maya's findings, keeping names vague. "This sounds like wire fraud," Olivia said, her pen tapping her notepad. "If you got bank records, emails, signatures, we can move fast. But your firm's on the hook too, Ethan. You ready for that?" I nodded, though the weight of losing Apex, my life's work, pressed on my chest. Maya kept digging, uncovering more dirt. Derek had used Vanguard to buy a Miami condo, $800,000 cash, from yacht docked in Key West, named Easy Money. The audacity floored me. I drove to his house one Saturday, pretending to drop off a client proposal. His wife, Jenna, a yoga instructor with a warm smile, let me in. Their foyer boasted a new Basquiat painting, $20,000, its vibrant colors screaming stolen wealth. Jenna chatted about their upcoming Maldives trip, oblivious to the storm brewing. Derek wasn't just greedy, he was reckless, and that was my leverage. I decided to test him. At a staff meeting, casually mentioned discrepancies in our Q4 reports, watching Derek's reaction. His jaw tightened, but he laughed it off. "Ethan's our numbers nerd," he told the team, winking, always sweating the small stuff. After, he pulled me aside. "What's with the audit talk?" he asked, his voice low. "You freaking people out." I shrugged, playing dumb. "Just being thorough." His eyes lingered, searching for cracks. I set a trap, coordinating with Maya and a new ally, Tom, our company lawyer. Tom was 50, a straight shooter who'd handled Apex's contracts since day one. I shared Maya's report with him over beers, his face darkening with every page. "Derek's screwing you," he said, "and he's using your name to do it." Tom agreed to help, setting up a meeting to review our books. I told Derek I'd found issues with Vanguard Ventures and wanted Tom to weigh in. "No need," Derek said, his voice too calm. "I'll handle it." I insisted, scheduling it for a Friday. Before the meeting, I met Olivia again, handing over the USB drive and a folder of client statements. The SEC was ready to act, but I wanted Derek to squirm first. I also contacted a third client, Sarah, a florist who'd lost $80,000. She was skeptical, but gave me her records, her hands trembling. "I trusted you guys," she said. The guilt hit like a punch. I vowed to repay her, even if it meant selling my car. The Friday meeting was a chess game. Tom's office was all glass and steel, the Charlotte skyline looming outside. Derek arrived in a tailored blazer, his confidence a mask. I started slow. "Carla's asking about her investment again," I said, watching his eyes. "And Raj says his $250,000 is gone." "What's happening, Derek?" He leaned back, smirking. "Clients get antsy, Ethan. You know how it is. I'll call them." "I checked the accounts," I said, sliding a printout across the table. Fake numbers Maya had crafted to look suspicious, with Vanguard's name circled. "These transfers. You signed them, not me." His smirk flickered. "You're fishing. Those are legit." "Then explain this," I said, hitting play on my phone. Derek's voice filled the room, recorded weeks earlier, bragging about his side deal to a client. Big money. Off the books. Tom's eyebrows shot up. Derek's face drained of color. "You're done," I said, my voice steady. "The SEC's already on you. Come clean, or they'll bury you." Derek laughed, but it was hollow, desperate. "You think you can take me down? Apex is mine as much as yours. You'll lose everything. Your firm, your reputation." "I already have," I said, standing. "But I'm not letting you hurt anyone else." He bolted, slamming the door. Tom looked at me, stunned. "You've got balls, Ethan." I didn't feel brave, just tired. That night, Olivia called. The SEC had frozen Vanguard accounts, tracing $1,500,000 to Derek's offshore banks. They raided his office at dawn, seizing his laptop, files, even his coffee mug. I watched from across the street, rain streaking my jacket, as Derek was escorted out, his tie loose, his charm evaporated. The fallout was a slow bleed. Apex's reputation cratered. Clients fled, fearing we were tainted. I laid off 8 staff, promising to rehire them if we survived. Lauren was my lifeline, cooking spaghetti dinners and reminding me why I'd fought. "You're not Derek," she said, her hands squeezing mine. "You're the guy who fixes things." I clung to that, even as our savings dwindled. I met Carla, Raj, and Sarah at a community center, sharing the SEC's findings. Carla hugged me, tears in her eyes. "You gave me my bakery back," she said. Raj shook my hand, his startup now funded by new investors. Sarah was quieter, but sent me a bouquet later, her florist logo bright on the card. They filed a civil suit against Derek, using Maya's evidence and my testimony. I stood in court, admitting my blindness but owning my role. The judge ruled in the client's favor. Derek owed $2,100,000 in restitution. His Miami condo, Tesla, yacht, and Basquiat were liquidated, his accounts drained. He faced criminal charges, wire fraud, embezzlement, 5 years in prison. Apex teetered but held. I rebuilt with 3 staff, focusing on transparency. We offered free audits to clients, a promise of trust reborn. It was slow, grueling, but Carla's empanadas showed up in our office one day. A quiet thank you. I hired back 2 laid-off employees, their gratitude humbling. Derek tried to reach me through a mutual friend, his voice a ghost on a voicemail. "Tell Ethan I'm sorry." I deleted it. Sorry doesn't undo shattered lives. Lauren framed Carla's thank you letter, hanging it in my office beside a photo of us at Apex's launch, Derek's face cropped out. I poured a whiskey one night, alone, toasting not to success, but to truth. Derek thought he could outplay me, but I'd rewritten the rules. In the ashes of his greed, I found something unbreakable: justice, carved from loss and mine. Months later, Maya called with news. The SEC was investigating 2 more firms linked to Vanguard accounts. Derek's web was wider than we'd known. I smiled, not surprised. Karma has a long memory. Apex grew, slowly, our new slogan etched on our site. Trust earned. And every deal I closed, every client I helped, was a brick in a wall Derek could never tear down.